Welcome back. I have a special guest with me today. She is a traditional naturopath and her name is Ahava McLaughlin. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I really appreciate being able to be here with you today and speak about physical observations. I love it. It's a passion of mine.
And I don't think our listeners are going to know what physical observation is just from hearing it, but we're really going to give you some tips on how they can apply it to their own lives there towards the end. I tend to give a call to action, but this is going to be ways that they can just meet somebody new and kind of get a hint of what's going on. So I'm going to let you explain that, but I want to start with your health and wellness journey because we all have some sort of story that brought us to this point in our lives.
Sure. So, very interesting. I'm a traditional naturopath now, but I didn't start off this way. I was going to be a pharmacist once upon a time. And so I totally did a 180 and went the opposite direction. And the way that kind of happened, long story short, is that I was entering into pharmacy school. I had taken my test, I had all my credits, I was applying. And of course, the school says, that I need to do certain things and I needed to get a checkup on my health. And so I had a pharmaceutical product that in my early 20s that really caused a big reaction in my body. And I didn't really quite understand what was going on. But it was so intense that I actually had to take a step back from pursuing my school journey in university and really figure out what was going on. I just started having a bunch of weird symptoms and literally I was not able to function for a while. So I went sort of down some rabbit holes and I realized maybe this isn't the profession that I want to be in. Although I'm very grateful for emergency medicine and I have used it and it's there when it's needed, long term health really starts with you at home, in your kitchen, in your lifestyle. And I really started to just dig down these, trails and I turned my life around and I got healthy. And once I was healthy to return back to school, I thought maybe I'll be a PA. No, I don't think so. And then I just really, I was like, no, how do we really heal ourselves, truly heal ourselves and live a good, healthy lifestyle? And so I started exploring, naturopathic schools, and that's how I got to where I am. And I'm so grateful that I made the switch because it really has made such an impact in my life, my family's life, and the people around me and my clients. So this is where I'm meant to be.
I love that so much. Yeah, our listeners definitely believe in what we do at home and preventative care, and we want to take care of ourselves. And if we need to go to the doctor, if we really need it, it is there, but almost everything we're able to do from home, which is such a blessing when we figure out how to use those tools at home.
Yeah,
So
for
let's
sure.
start talking about physical observation. What does that mean exactly?
What does that mean? So basically, based on traditional Chinese medicine practices, this is a very ancient way of looking at what's going on inside the body, the organs that it's affecting, that are being affected inside, actually show up on our face. We can see it everywhere in our face, depending on what's going on. Each individual is different. So it's like a window to your soul. That people say the eyes are, the window to your soul. But I also think and agree that our faces are also the window to our souls and to our body within. And I think that, for example, we this is a pretty common one that your viewers might understand is the darkness under the eyes, right? That's a pretty common complaint. And we're looking to do Botox or to do like some skin lightening or whatnot. And really, what it is a certain organ that's being affected and it's coming out. So, it's not the typical, oh, I'm tired, I didn't get enough sleep, so therefore it's a little dark, but it's like that constant, it's just not going away darkness, puffiness. That's your kidneys. Your kidneys are talking to you and it's having a hard time filtering. And if you notice, when you ever get sick, God forbid, but with a virus or something, usually you see it in the kids, because they don't usually have the under eye bag issues that maybe some of us as we get older tend to encounter. That you'll see their eyes underneath get purplish, right? They get dark, and we know they're dealing with something. It's basically their kidneys trying to filter out and the toxic waste, and it's showing up in underneath our eyes. So that's one way of knowing that specific organ. So that's just a little example there based on, physical observations to kind of understand what that means and how that looks like.
Yeah, I think everybody can understand how to recognize that, and they probably didn't think about it being the kidneys, and they probably don't think about all the toxins in the products that they're using, that the kidney's getting overloaded, and that's what's causing. And then we use more chemicals on our face, and then the kidneys are more overloaded. But
Right,
when we get those toxins out of the house, our kidneys can actually do their job,
right.
and then our skin looks better
Yes.
because of that. I love this because I'm going back to school to become a board certified naturopathic doctor. And this section, the physical observation section, my listeners know I don't have a spleen because of the weird autoimmune disease and disaster I went through with doctors. And my tongue and my eyes both showed that my spleen needed support. And of course, I don't know if it looked like that before, but I'm
Right,
assuming that my body was already giving me those cues. Hey, we need to support the spleen. And if I'd have known this earlier, maybe I
right.
could have avoided some things I had to do with the doctor.
Right, right. I always say it's good to just get a baseline. Look at yourself, get to know yourself. What does your tongue look like when you're not, let's say, in an acute infection, sick, virus, whatever? What do your tonsils look like? What does the back of your throat look like even? What does your tongue normally look like? So you can track and see those changes even if you might not be an expert, in physical observations, you can say, hey, this something doesn't look right. It's usually like this, and it doesn't, and now it's like changing. So I always recommend all of my clients to really look in the mirror and get to know themselves
Oh, I
more.
love that. So how can our listeners use this in kind of everyday life, and maybe they're meeting people, or maybe they're kind of wondering about someone who's getting close to them. What are some tips that they can use to
Yeah.
look at a face and know something?
So I'll give a couple extra tips just based on the physical parts besides the under eyes, the kidneys. A very big one for women, especially, is all the little pimples and little expressions on the face here, skin outbreaks. That's completely hormonal. When it's around the chin, maybe even around the mouth, that's a hormonal thing that you're going to want to look into. If, for example, you have a lot of heat and redness in this area on the cheeks, that's your digestion, that's your, large intestine, or maybe even your immune system. If it's constantly just red, that lets you know your immune system is overworking. It's heated. There's a lot of heat coming out from the body, and it's coming in through the face. Maybe some high blood pressure. That kind of thing you can look at. And let me see here. Another fun one. Oh, you see this in men a lot. I gave women, so I'll give men. They're on the earlobes. Sometimes you see men that have this deep crease in it going vertically from here down. That's cardiovascular. So when I see that very big crease in the earlobe, I'm telling the gentleman, hey, how's your heart health? Have you checked your blood pressure? What's your, cardiovascular? And sometimes I try to bite myself, my tongue not talk when I'm out and about and meeting people, but you see it, it all pops out to you. And sure enough, every time I confirm, they do have some sort of high blood pressure or cardiovascular issue. So those are some fun, gentle ones that we can see on the face that are pretty obvious. I think we've noticed them, seen them. We just didn't know what that represented. Um, the tongue is also a very good indicator of certain issues that could be going on inside the body. Sometimes we have deep cracks in the center of the tongue. That's the spleen, the stomach area. Um, Usually, a lot, which is pretty common, is the white film over the tongue. That's yeast. So those are, some other things that we look at in the tongue. Underneath the tongue, those two blue veins that are is sometimes really deep and setted, it should be pink. If they're very blue, we're looking at metal toxicity perhaps, or even the veins, needing to be cleansed. So those are some other fun ones. But what I would like to get at is some fun. What can we do when we're looking at someone, right? And we're meeting someone for the first time, and or we are know someone already, but we're trying to understand them a little bit deeper. So this is where it gets really fun. If we split our face in half and we look, see, this is my left side. The left side is always male dominant, and the right side is female dominant. So we know how do we remember that? Because mom is always right.
Ah,
So so we know the right side is female, right? So the right side is the female side. The left side is the male side. Correct. So the the left side represents who we really are inside. So, what we're holding in and not showing out to the world. And sometimes, I guess the men tend to be more harder, more stricter in our lives, right? Like they might hold us up, our fathers, to a certain, degree of expectation. And depending on the person, it could take a toll, and that will show up on their left side, what they're holding in. And if there was a male dominant figure that was a little bit suppressive or emotionally disturbing for that person, it will show up on the left side. On the right side is who we are presenting out to the world. So who we want the world to see us as. And that is just our, our outer self image. So when you're seeing someone, or maybe someone is sending you a photo now, everything's online, right? They're sending you a
right.
photo of themselves, or you see their profile picture. You could literally just take, a piece of paper and, cover that photo halfway on the nose and just take a look. I have a fun photo here. I think this should show through. I'm going to hold it up to the screen for your viewers just for a second. So this gentleman here, he's on a Sports Illustrated magazine. You look at him, he has a tree face. It's long and rectangular. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch it because they have it cut off here. So let me just double check. This is the right side of his face. Can you see that well?
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at his eyes. We're always going to go to the eyes. What do we see? What do you think you see there?
I do see like a little bag under his eyes for sure.
And the look of his eyes, is it gentle? Is it harsh? Is it upset? Is it angry? Is it
It it
more
looks
sensitive?
a little sadder than his smile.
Okay. So now we're going to go to the left side of the face. I'm sorry, give me a second to figure that out.
And that side looks happier. That eye looks happier.
That you see that eye looking happier?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so I see there's like a bag. Oh, my finger. There's
The
a
bag
bag
is definitely bigger on that
is
side.
bigger, and this side of the face to me looks a little bit harsher. So it does take some practice to look at it, like going
Yeah.
back and forth. But basically, his left side, yes, his left side does look happier in a certain kind of way, like here in his smile. But when you look at the eyes, um, he revealed in the article that he had a difficult relationship with his father, and
Mm,
the actual eye portion looks a little bit more serious. He even has up here the lines in the forehead, the creases are much more indented compared to the right side. So there's
mm.
much more going on. Like there's a lot more things that he has gone through in life, and it's showing up on the left side of the face versus the right side of the face is more gentle, just sort of more seemingly easygoing, maybe a little bit of sadness, but not angry, right? Nothing
Not
like
angry for sure.
right. Yeah. So that's just a good way to show you how to look from one side of the face to the other, and just kind of look at the eyes, look at the smile, look at the creases, and see what pops out at you. And these are great conversation starters. You could totally do this with your family, get to know each other. you know, um, Definitely probably bring up some things, topics to talk about. But it's definitely fun to like really like get into it and look into that.
I love that. So if our listeners want to work with you, how does that process work?
Sure, thank you. So I predominantly work online, so I'm able to see anybody all around the country, all around the world. I do, in fact, have clients around, so that I'm able to get pictures that they take of their face, their nails, their tongue, and I'm able to, look at it and then, really get a good gauge for what's going on and put it to the organs. And, they, based on their symptoms that they can tell me, then we make a plan of action. And the way that they can contact me is through my website, and that is ahavaholistic.com. So I'll repeat, it's Ahava, AHAV, like Victor A, holistic.com. And that's the best way to get in communication with me.
And we'll put that in the show notes so that people can find you for sure. We want them to be able to find you. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners before we wrap up?
Um, yes, stress. Stress is a huge, I mean, we're talking about organs and it's showing up on the face, but stress can really alter our organs and our glands, which then show up on our face. So, getting a hold of, and I know it's so much easier said than done, but getting a hold of our emotions, not letting ourselves get carried away when something happens, take a step back, take a breather. Uh, Women, we tend to suppress our anger, and that can affect our thyroid. Um, and just really stress. I can't tell you enough how many clients I see that the emotional root cause to their issues is some sort of emotional disturbance, stress in their life, and it is physically manifesting in their body, which then shows up on their face. So that would be my number one tip always at the end of the day.
Completely. So basically, if our viewers maybe are struggling with something and the doctors aren't really figuring out what it is, because how many times have we gone to the doctor and like, we really need to support your kidneys. They don't really talk that way. We need to
No,
support your organs. And Ahava's going to help you really figure out which organs need the most support, or if she needs to give you some tips for stress. And, she's going to talk back and forth with you, and we're going to talk about the symptoms that you're having, and she's going to talk about specific plans that are simple and easy and perfect for you because of how you speak to her and how she sees things on your face, tongue, and eyes.
absolutely. Yeah.
I think that is so super cool. Thank you so much for being here, Ahava. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope your viewers enjoy these tips for implementing it in their lives. And it's good to, know when someone's not good. You could look at their left side of their face and, just get a feel for, okay, obviously besides what they're saying, but just you might have a deeper insight to like, okay, should I be around this person or should I maybe, welcome them into my life? The eyes say a lot, the face says a lot. And thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for being here. Viewers, please subscribe or follow, and we will see you next time.